Hello and welcome to my ongoing series, Roblox Myths Explained. In this series, I talk about various different Roblox myths and everything you need to know about them. In today's episode, we'll be talking about Miss Satanica. So, let's get into it. Miss Satanica is a Roblox myth that is best known for their games, most notably the Spring Apartments, as well as for their Asian influence, which can be seen in various parts of their myth. They have gotten a bit of recognition within the Roblox myth community, which shows that people are starting to find out about Miss Satanica's existence. Their myth is also very interesting and lore heavy, which provides myth hunters with a lot of opportunities to myth hunt. Miss Satanica's story dates back to April 4th, 2020. This marks the day that her account was created. On that same day, Miss Satanica created her signature game, The Spring Apartments. We'll go more in depth about the game later. Pretty soon, Miss Satanica began getting ranked in various different Roblox myth hunting groups. This proved that Miss Satanica was starting to gain recognition within the Roblox myth community. It was only uphill for the rest of 2020. Throughout the year, Miss Satanica developed 5 more games related to the myth. In no particular order, they are The Performance, The Alley, The Corridors, The Bridge, and The Manor. They allowed Miss Satanica's myth to progress further in its respective story. 2021 wasn't too different, although some significant things happened. For example, Miss Satanica won the Best Avatar Award at the 2021 RMH Myth Development Awards. However, 2022 would be a different story. In March of that year, Miss Satanica announced that she would be retiring from the Roblox myth community to focus on their studies. With that being said though, there is a high chance of them returning to the community. Miss Satanica is still active on Roblox though, being last online on December 24th, 2022. Expect this to change as time passes. One of the best things about Miss Satanica's myth is that it has quite a bit of lore. It'll make exploring this myth a lot of fun for myth hunters. Anyway, for time purposes, we'll be paraphrasing Miss Satanica's lore. So, the lore goes as follows. Miss Satanica was bullied a lot during her childhood, with one example being her getting ridiculed for having a pair of jaded hair sticks. During school, Miss Satanica met a girl named Atama, who they would soon fall for. Atama became a very close and supportive friend of Miss Satanica, which would then evolve into them becoming lovers. This carried over into Miss Satanica's new job, which was being a landlord. She did this at a complex called the Spring Apartments, which she bought in 1996. Miss Satanica's new job gave her some benefits relating to her anxiety. Everything went well until the tenants at her complex started getting killed. It was known that, quote, they would leave red doors behind every victim, taking you to the last person's memory. As you progress through the doors, it becomes clear that Miss Satanica planned on saving Atama and living in her dream home, which will later be her prison. In the end, Miss Satanica leaves a message advising us to not follow the path she took. Regarding Miss Satanica's appearance, her avatar currently consists of an all-white skin tone along with the black and gray moon aura waist accessory, the shades of white rose crown hat, the middle swept spiky bangs and black hair, the cheerful grin face, the Lyra B Winter Flowers back samurai kimono shirt, the kimono hakama white pants, and the Roblox girl torso. In my opinion, this avatar looks really cool and well made. It definitely captures the vibe of Miss Satanica's myth pretty well. Her avatar also uses a style that is pretty appealing and relevant to her myth storyline. Overall, I give Miss Satanica's avatar a 10 out of 10 since it looks really good and fits well with her myth storyline. Looking back on it, it's understandable as to why Miss Satanica won the Best Myth Avatar Award. Regarding Miss Satanica's personality, she is known to be very nice to Roblox myth hunters. However, she will sometimes reveal the darker side of herself, which can come across as unnerving. This is just talking about her out-of-character personality. When it comes to within her myth, Miss Satanica is very anxious and tends to be quite busy. The latter makes sense considering her job is being a landlord. I wonder what Redditors think of Miss Satanica given her occupation. In regards to Miss Satanica's games, she has quite a few of them. Due to this, we will only be going over one of her games. Miss Satanica's signature game is The Spring Apartments, which is also her most popular game, with a bit over 6,000 place visits. Even though it's not that popular compared to other myth games we covered, that doesn't mean it's an unknown game. The Spring Apartments was made on April 4th, 2020 and was last updated on November 21st, 2022. Anyway, since it is the most relevant to Myth Sad and Nika's myth, we'll be talking about what can be found in game. Okay, so right away we can see lots of paintings, such as that one, and this one. This is not all of them, but they're the ones you can see immediately when joining the game. We also see quite a few lamps of that, and candles everywhere for some reason. Oh yeah, there's also a character right here that you can interact with, and it turns out that this character is actually Miss Sad and Nika herself. Interacting with the character will reveal the following dialogue. Hello, I am Sedan Kyoku. I am the owner of these apartments. I am sorry to say this, but it appears the recent floods have been contaminating some areas of the apartments. Me and my wife Atama are working on these issues as fast as we can. So please, enjoy your wait. There's a community library that is open. Although, don't adventure too far. I don't want you getting lost. Continuing to the rest of the map, let's start at the library. As you can see, there are a bunch of books, to the surprise of no one. Continuing down, we get to an intersection. There are two ways that we can go through, so we'll be going over each of them. Going to the left will reveal a fan art board that is labeled under the title Community Postage. As you can see, there is a bunch of fan art, as well as a manager's board that consists of pictures of people that I do not know the identity of. Going over here, we see a note that we can interact with. It reads, "A large thanks from these incredible artists and developers." So basically, this is the fan section of the game. Going over to this side, we get to see more books, as well as the title of Community Library. Oh, what's this? There's a person that you can interact with. Let's see what's happening to them. You gotta help me. My name is Ara. I've been stuck here for so long. I am scared to go through the next door. They can lead to something. It looks like her, but it isn't? From my research, it's almost as if Sedan's anxiety is the source, but that can't be. I think this is linked to the NUI induction field. Keep this in mind for later, by the way. There are more books, obviously. And over here is a boarded up area that we cannot access. I'm assuming there's some hidden lore behind these pillars, boards, but we'll see. Nice to meet you, Ara. Anyway, that's the library. Let's go to the right of the library. We'll come back to this section later. What's in this area? Going to the left, we see... Oh my god. A man stabbed in the chest attached to the wall. But yeah, this is gonna be creepy to those who have played this game for the first time. Wait, we can interact with it. Let's see what it says. According to his role, he guards the performance area. He guards the performance area? It's his ID. A man, impaled through his chest with his face torn. I can't really see the face. Oh yeah, that definitely looks torn. Anyway, this is a pretty interesting area of the map. Here we have the clinic, which is boarded up for some reason. And I hate that you can't shift lock, so I'm not able to see what's on the other side of this door. Anyway, continuing on. We have a door that is blocked off intentionally by something. Yeah, we have a hallway that you cannot go through. There's 3 doors, all of which I'm assuming leads to something, and a random box for some reason. I don't know if we're able to get into that area. Anyway, continuing on. Ooh, 2 vending machines. I wonder what they dispense. From here, there are 2 areas that you can go to. To the right, we can see 6 pictures of something. Interacting with it will reveal the following dialogue. These are named Correct Choice, Fallen Gold, Archived Angel, Blissful Blatancy, Sweet Night, and Flowing Fate. Anyway, let's go over here and see what there is. Ooh, there's several chairs and a radio. However, when I turned on the sound, I don't think the radio played anything. Let me check though. Nope, does not play anything. There's a cute little picture. So yeah, over here, there's a person that you can talk to. Interacting with them will reveal the following dialogue. Hey there, I'm May. These floods are getting worse. You must be new to the apartments. Everyone from the underground floors have been moved up by Sedan. So it's been very busy lately. It feels like it's been raining for years. Some areas around the building were designed to be more traditional. I think it's quite relaxing, don't you? Anyway, let's get out of here. Over here, we can see a caged off area. A blocked off area, I meant. There are quite a few boxes, 2 lamps, and whatever this thing is. Anyway, as far as I'm aware, this is all that this area has to offer, so let's go back to the final area of this game. This is just a random note, but this is the first video of 2023, so yeah. Anyway, continuing to the final area. As we can see, there is a door that shows 2 people talking to each other. She looks like she's in love with the person she's talking to. Also, I wonder what's behind that door. I'm assuming this is the check-in area. Oh yeah, the reception. That makes sense. Rules. Be quiet. Pay rent when due. Be respectful to your neighbors. Pets must be cleaned up after themselves. Any mess in the hall will have to be cleaned. Don't bother Miss Satanika. Don't vandalize. Pretty basic rules if you ask me. Anyway, what else is there to see? There's 2 people over here that we can talk to, and 1 that we can actually interact with. Interacting with this character will reveal the following dialogue. Oh, hello, you must be new. I'm Susie. I see you're waiting for a room too. The reviews here are amazing, although I find it a bit eerie. So the reviews are great, although the vibe is pretty odd, according to Susie. What else is there to see? Oh my god, you're the handsomest man I've ever seen. Ooh, a TV. Oh. So if I zoom into my character like this, I can see that the screen is cracked. Wow. Anyways, it might not look like it, but you can actually interact with this TV. Pressing E will reveal the following dialogue. News reports say that the current rainfall could become pricey in water damage. Here reporting live is Akane Sumugi. So Akane, how bad could help? I won't lie, the first time I interacted with the TV and got that dialogue, I was a bit weirded out. Because who knows what the hell was happening. Anyway, let's continue down here. What do you know? 2 people happy to see me. D. Bryan Cerros RBLX. You can interact with the blue-haired girl as well. Sadan and Atama have been doing well. Maybe we should invite them out for dinner. What a lovely couple. Anyway, as you can see, these are washing machines, so if you want to wash your clothes, this is the room to do it in. Anyway, moving on, we can see a door that leads to nothing, and more washing machines, and some chairs, which for some reason the chairs do not work in this game. I mean, you see, my legs are literally going through the chair. Anyway, going down the hallway, you get to see this, and you can interact with it. Let's see what it says. This isn't normal. Hey, maybe answering this in the chat will unlock the way. So yeah, for this part, you have to basically answer the question and type your answer into the chat. Who owns the Spring Apartments? For anyone wondering, the answer is Sadan. Now we can go through this area. What is there to see over here? So, well, we see more doors and lamps and candles and a window. Sorry if that didn't make any sense, I just don't know how to commentate. Yeah, so walking around this specific area, there's not much to see. There's another path we can take down here, which leads us to an outside area. I hadn't actually paid attention to this area, and my god, does it look pretty. Anyway, here's another character that you can interact with. Oh, hello there. Haven't seen you before. I'm Daisy. This is the Japanese Apricot District. Sadan had named the different areas of the apartments under springtime flowers that are common in Japan. This floor has been extra busy given the flooded floors 2 through 4. Hope that flooding damage doesn't cost too much. I'm not gonna lie, I like Daisy's outfit. Anyways, what else is there for us to see? Yep, I like this area. It seems like an area that you could use for a thumbnail. Continuing on, there's this character that we can interact with. Hey! What's up? I'm Sam. I saw that Ara girl walk by earlier. She was talking about something. EIF, I think. Oh yeah, that girl that we saw at the library. That's who she's talking about. I don't know what EIF is, but she seems stressed. Oh, I recently bought this apartment. It's so calming. Sadan is a wonder for putting me here. Yeah. So remember when I said you should keep the EIF in mind for later? Yeah, it's starting to become relevant. Wow, there's much more to the game than I expected. Wait, we can interact with this? Let's see what it does. You press your ear against the door. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn my volume up. It sounds like someone is in. Well, I can't tell because shift lock doesn't work. Continuing down the hall. Oh, that's pretty dope. One thing I realized at this point is that a lot of the doors do not really lead to anything. But yeah, the game design is really cool. I love it. I have not been to this area actually. Wow. It's locked. Owners must be at work. Let's see what's down here. Yeah, there's a lot to this game. If you guys didn't know already. More vending machines. Another area. Oh, this is just kind of like a shortcut then. Oh my god. This complex is big. Oh wait, we can interact with this door. Finally. You knock on the door. Go away, I have to work in the morning. A stern voice responds. Oh yeah, about that red area we saw earlier, we're gonna come back to it. Anyway, here's the red door I was talking about. I hear it. The door, whispering for my attention. Wait, that teleported me to a new game. The performance behind the apartments. Oh yeah, this game. We're not gonna be going over it in this video, so that's the gameplay section. In my opinion, The Spring Apartments is a great game that works as a good starting point for Miss Satanika's myth. Quite a lot of lore can be found within this game alone. Even though this isn't Miss Satanika's only game, it is the most important in terms of discovering her myth's lore. Overall, I recommend playing The Spring Apartments. Believe it or not, there are a couple theories related to Miss Satanika's myth that one should look into. Theories are just explanations that are intended to explain the unknown. So, let's get into the theories. The first and only theory is that Roblox user Zalzark is a continuation of Miss Satanika's story. Even though it might not make sense at first, hear me out. The first piece of evidence is that Zalzark's avatar appears in several of Miss Satanika's games, though in different settings. Considering that this is the case, it becomes likely that Zalzark plays an important role in the said games. The second piece of evidence is that Zalzark is known to have researched a topic called an EIF, or NUI induction field. What is significant about this object is that it is mentioned multiple times throughout Miss Satanika's games. Adding on to this, a possible explanation for the NUI induction field is provided in Zalzark's primary game. Finally, the third piece of evidence is that the UI of both Zalzark and Miss Satanika's games are pretty similar. This implies some sort of connection between the two. Despite all of the evidence provided, it is important to remember that all of this is just a theory. Until the theory has either been confirmed or debunked by Miss Satanika herself, take it with a grain of salt. As one might know, trivia is just extra facts that are relevant enough to make it onto the video. There's quite a bit of it for Miss Satanika's myth, so let's get straight into it. The first piece of trivia is that the style and aesthetic of Miss Satanika's myth is based on Japan's culture from 1996 until 2000. This helps explain the date of February 1999 that is seen in The Spring Apartments. The second piece of trivia is that some of the inspirations behind Miss Satanika's myth include video games Little Nightmares and Detention, and various Studio Ghibli films such as Spirited Away. When you look into the myth's influence and art style, it actually makes sense that these forms of media inspired it. The third piece of trivia is that the name Miss Satanika came from a combination of the words Sadan and Sadnika. Sadan sounds similar to Satan, which relates to the hell theme Miss Satanika's myth is about. The fourth and final piece of trivia is that, as mentioned before, Miss Satanika won the Best Avatar category in the 2021 RMH Myth Development Awards. After taking a look at her avatar, it becomes understandable as to why. To wrap this all up, Miss Satanika is a Roblox myth that is best known for their games, as well as for their extensive lore and Asian influence that is present throughout their myth. Miss Satanika's story can be traced back to early in the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically April of 2020. Development for her myth began that same month and continued for the next few years. There is a good amount of lore that can be found in Miss Satanika's myth, which deals with topics such as anxiety, hell, and similar themes. Her appearance looks very cool and depicts her myth's mood and tone very well. Miss Satanika has several games related to her myth, but The Spring Apartments is a great starting point for myth hunters. It is theorized that there are other users that act as a continuation of Miss Satanika's myth, and lots of facts relating to her exist. Overall, Miss Satanika's myth is a very cool and interesting one to explore. Even though she is a newer myth within the community, Miss Satanika has quite a bit of potential to become very famous. Her story is pretty good, the games are very well made, and the themes explored make it all the more attention grabbing. With everything being said, Miss Satanika will forever be a popular Roblox myth, and that's everything.